The system is designed so that no single part looks illegal in isolation. Today, we are going to break down the anatomy of what appears to be a pretty sophisticated federal shell game. And a quick shout out to the investigative groups, the Monroe Gazette and Eyes on Ice, because what we're about to show you is based on documents they worked to expose. We're going to map out a mechanism that connects federal agencies, a defense contractor down in Puerto Rico, and some of the biggest names on Wall Street. And let's be absolutely crystal clear about something from the get-go. Everything we're looking at today has been pieced together from the official public record. We're talking about government contracts, bankruptcy filings, and documents that came out through the Freedom of Information Act. These aren't opinions. These are the facts, on paper.
So what do these documents show us? They lay out what is described as a clandestine operation. It's a two-part system, and it's designed to do one thing: acquire facilities while dodging any kind of public scrutiny or legal blowback. They actually give it a name: the funnel and ghost scheme.
Okay, so here's how it breaks down. The whole operation is split geographically, which makes it really hard to see the full picture. Part 1, the funnel, is all about the money, and it's routed through Puerto Rico. Then you have Part 2, the ghosts. This is the on-the-ground physical work, and it's all handled by a whole network of anonymous companies based out of Brooklyn, New York. So let's dig into the first piece of this puzzle, the Puerto Rico funnel. This is the whole mechanism that's been set up to move the money around while, completely bypassing public oversight. The absolute keystone of this entire financial operation, at least according to the records, is a company called SK2 LLC. They're a defense contractor, and they're located in San Juan, Puerto Rico. They are the funnel. So you might be asking, how does the government just award a contract without any kind of public bid? Well, the documents point to this very specific legal loophole. It's called Federal Acquisition Regulation 63021, or only one responsible source. What this basically means is the government can skip the whole competitive process by just claiming that only one specific company is capable of doing the job. And here's the price tag. The sole source contract awarded to SK2 LLC was for just under $6 million. And the official purpose? Acquisition of real property services. Essentially, they were hired to be a real estate broker for the Department of Homeland Security. Now, this wasn't just some simple real estate deal. Oh no. The contract was actually buried deep inside a massive $20 billion defense mission for something called territorial integrity. Giving it that kind of national security cover is a huge deal. It gives the project the power to potentially just steamroll local zoning laws and stop communities from blocking it. Okay, so that's the money side of things. Now let's jump over to the other half of this machine, the Brooklyn Ghost Engine. This is all about who's doing the actual physical work back in New York, and more importantly, how all the liability gets sanitized. The operational hub for all these ghosts, the paper trail leads back to one single, pretty notorious address, 199 Lee Avenue in Brooklyn. This is where the subcontractors are based. Well, on paper anyway. Get this. There are over 1,000 different LLCs, limited liability companies, registered to this one building. I mean, that sheer volume alone creates this massive wall of corporate anonymity. It's almost impossible to figure out who's who. And this photo, this just says it all, doesn't it? This is the Ghost Engine in action. It's a totally nondescript building from the outside, but inside you find this wall of mailboxes. Each one of those is a front for an anonymous company, designed to hide the real identities of the owners and the contractors. It makes tracing who's really doing the work a nightmare. The records actually identify some of the specific types of subcontractors registered here. You've got your construction outfits like B Contractors Group. You've got logistics suppliers like Complete Kits and Lodging. And then you have these environmental fixers, whose whole job is to deal with properties that have regulatory problems, like being built on a floodplain. Their job is to do the work and act as a liability shield for the main players. So we have the Puerto Rico funnel for the money and the Brooklyn ghosts for the work. How do these two pieces connect? Well, the documents map out what is called the financial kill chain, and it tracks taxpayer money all the way to Wall Street. Okay, this right here is the absolute core of the whole mechanism. They call it the Puerto Rico loop. Step 1, the Department of Homeland Security pays its contractor, SK2, in Puerto Rico. Step 2, SK2 uses that money to buy the target property in New York. But here's the genius of it. Step 3, the payment goes to the seller's Puerto Rican affiliate, a company called Pepo's Puerto Rico. So the whole transaction is engineered as a Puerto Rico to Puerto Rico deal. It moves federal money to the seller, a company called Rican Enterprises, through their very own subsidiary. So why all the complexity? Why this insane setup? The documents have a name for it, a bankruptcy intercept. See, the seller's subsidiaries were in bankruptcy. Normally, that would tie up an asset like this property in legal battles for months, maybe even years. This whole loop, it seems, was designed specifically to bypass all those delays and generate immediate cash on hand for the parent company. And the timeline laid out in the documents just shows how blindingly fast this all happened. On January 7th, DHS awards the contract. Within just 3 weeks, the property is paid for. And then, the very next day, January 27th, the seller, Rican Enterprises, files a form with the SEC disclosing that it's using cash on hand to pay off debts. That government contract was turned into liquid cash with incredible speed. So who are the final beneficiaries of this lightning-fast payout? Well, according to the records, the senior debt notes that got redeemed by this transaction were held by 3 Wall Street giants: Goldman Sachs, UBS, and BNP Paribas. All right, let's zoom out now and put all the pieces together. We can actually map out the entire machine, from that first government contract all the way to the final payout, and see it as one single coordinated system. This slide really visualizes the whole network, doesn't it? Step 1, DHS, out of DC, awards the contract. Step 2, the funnel, SK2 in Puerto Rico, moves the money. Step 3, the engine at 199 Lee Avenue in Brooklyn provides the subcontractors to do the work. Step 4, the seller gets paid. And finally, Step 5, Wall Street gets its debt repayment. Every single part, in a different city, plays its own critical coordinated role. And this brings us to the most crucial point. While each individual piece is carefully designed to look legitimate on its own, the documents allege that the real fraud is in the coordination. You've got the bypassing of public bidding, the use of fixers to make a non-compliant site look good on paper, and the hiding of liability behind all those anonymous subcontractors. It's the complete picture that tells the real story. You know, these public records lay out one very complex machine for just this one transaction. And it really leaves you with a final, pretty provocative question. What other mechanisms just like this might be operating in the shadows between federal procurement and Wall Street? Because as the investigators who uncovered these very documents have warned, we must map the gears to survive.